What is Flag Day? Important facts about Flag Day and what the logic. What is Flag Day? Discover the history of the annual holiday and check out 13 surprising facts about the American flag and how to properly display it. When the American Revolution broke out in 1775, the colonists weren't fighting united under a single flag. Instead, most regiments participating in the War for Independence against the British fought under their own flags. In June of 1775, the Second Continental Congress met in Philadelphia to create the Continental Army, a unified colonial fighting force, with the hopes of more organized battle against its colonial oppressors. This led to the creation of what was, essentially, the first American flag, the Continental Colors. For some, this flag, which was comprised of 13 red and white alternating stripes and a Union Jack in the corner, was too similar to that of the British. George Washington soon realized that flying a flag that was even remotely close to the British flag was not a great confidence builder for the revolutionary effort, so he turned his efforts towards creating a new symbol of freedom for the soon-to-be fledgling nation. On June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress took a break from writing the Articles of Confederation and passed a resolution stating that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternate red and white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. Over 100 years later, in 1916, President Woodrow Wilson marked the anniversary of that decree by officially establishing June 14 as Flag Day. As you celebrate the anniversary of the Stars and Stripes, here are some fast facts about Old Glory. 1. Bernard Sigrand, a small-town Wisconsin teacher, originated the idea for an annual Flag Day, to be celebrated across the country every June 14, in 1885. That year, he led his school in the first formal observance of the holiday. Sigrand, who later changed careers and practiced dentistry in Illinois, continued to promote his concept and advocate respect for the flag throughout his life. It is widely believed that Betsy Ross, who assisted the Revolutionary War effort by repairing uniforms and sewing tents, made and helped design the first American flag. However, there is no historical evidence that she contributed to Old Glory's creation. It was not until her grandson William Canby held an 1870 press conference to recount the story that the American public learned of her possible role. The lyrics of the Star-Spangled Banner, America's national anthem since 1931, are taken from a patriotic poem written by Francis Scott Key after he witnessed the Battle of Fort Sumter during the War of 1812. His words were set to the tune of To Anacreon in Heaven, a popular British drinking song. In the 1950s, when it seemed certain that Alaska would be admitted to the Union, designers began retooling the American flag to add a 49th star to the existing 48. Meanwhile, a 17-year-old Ohio student named Bob Heft borrowed his mother's sewing machine, disassembled his family's 48-star flag and stitched on 50 stars in a proportional pattern. He handed in his creation to his history teacher for a class project, explaining that he expected Hawaii would soon achieve statehood as well. Heft also sent the flag to his congressman, Walter Moeller, who presented it to President Eisenhower after both new states joined the Union. Eisenhower selected Heft's design, and on July 4, 1960, the president and the high school students stood together as the 50-star flag was raised for the first time. Heft's teacher promptly changed his grade from a B to an A. 5. Unlike setting an intact flag on fire, flying one upside down is not always intended as an act of protest. According to the flag code, it can also be an official distress signal. 6. The flag code stipulates that the stars and stripes should not be used as apparel, bedding or drapery. 7. The practice of draping coffins in the American flag is not reserved for military veterans and government officials. On the contrary, any burial may incorporate this tradition. 8. Etiquette calls for American flags to be illuminated by sunlight or another light source while on display. During the Vietnam War era, some demonstrators burned American flags as an act of protest. The Flag Protection Act of 1968 was enacted in response, making it illegal to burn or otherwise deface the Stars and Stripes. In two landmark decisions 20 years later, the Supreme Court ruled that the government couldn't curb individuals' rights by prohibiting desecration of the U.S. flag. Respectful burning of damaged flags according to established protocol has always been acceptable. When flags are taken down from their poles, care must be taken to keep them from touching the ground. In fact, the American flag should always be kept aloft, meaning that rugs and carpets featuring the Stars and Stripes are barred by the flag code. When the flags of cities, states, localities or groups are flown on the same staff as the American flag, Old Glory should always be at the peak. When flags of two or more nations are displayed, they should be of equivalent size and flown from separate staffs of the same height. 12. The flag code strictly prohibits adding an insignia, drawing or other markings to the Stars and Stripes. Some American politicians have been known to defy this regulation by signing copies of the U.S. flag for their supporters. 13. Ever wondered how to correctly fold an American flag? First, enlist a partner and stand facing each other, each holding both corners of one of the rectangle's shorter sides. Working together, lift the half of the flag that usually hangs on the bottom over the half that contains the blue field of stars. Next, fold the flag lengthwise a second time so that the stars are visible on the outside. Make a triangular fold at the striped end, bringing one corner up to meet the top edge. Continue to fold the flag in this manner until only a triangle of star-studded blue can be seen. Fast flag facts. In honor of Flag Day, June 14th, check out some things you should know about the Stars and Stripes. 1. The flag's original design remained the same from 1777 to 1795. On June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress, meeting in Philadelphia, passed the Flag Act of 1777, a resolution creating an official flag for a new nation still struggling to gain its independence from Britain. It stated, in part, that America's flag be made of 13 stripes, alternate red and white, that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. And the design pretty much stayed that way for nearly 2 decades. The first significant change came in January 1794, when 2 stars and 2 stripes were added to reflect the recent admissions of Kentucky and Vermont to the Union. It was this 15-stripe flag that inspired Francis Scott Key to write the poem that later became known as the Star-Spangled Banner, after seeing it fly over Ft. McHenry during the War of 1812. In 1818, another design went into effect, permanently setting the number of stripes at 13, in honor of the original colonies, and allowing for new stars to be added ceremonially each July 4th should a new state be admitted. 2. In American history, June 14th isn't just a day to honor the flag. While the 1777 resolution establishing a national flag was the impetus for the national holiday known as Flag Day, that date also holds great significance for the U.S. Two years earlier, just weeks after the battles of Lexington and Concord kicked off the American Revolution, the Congress formally authorized the enlistment of soldiers to fight in what became known as the Continental Army. So this Friday, remember to wish the U.S. Army a happy 238th birthday. 3. Only one state observes Flag Day as a legal state holiday. It took more than a century after the creation of America's flag for anyone to suggest a holiday to honor it. In 1885, a Wisconsin grade school teacher named Bernard Sigrand held what's believed to be the first recognized Flag Day, which began a lifelong quest to establish a formal holiday. Woodrow Wilson issued a presidential proclamation calling for a June 14th commemoration in 1916, but it wasn't until 1949, 16 years after the death of the Sigrand, the father of Flag Day, that Congress passed legislation as a national holiday. It is not, however, a federal holiday. In fact, it's only an official holiday in any capacity in one state. Perhaps fittingly, it's Pennsylvania, where the flag was officially created and legend holds, though it's wholly unsubstantiated, that local seamstress Betsy Ross sewed the original flag. 4. The only casualties at Fort Sumter were flag-related. More than 620,000 Americans lost their life during the Civil War, but only 2 of those fatalities occurred during the First Battle of the War. When Confederate forces began a bombardment of Fort Sumter, in Charleston Harbor on April 12, 1861, Union Commander Major Robert Anderson held out for more than 34 hours before finally surrendering the fort. One of Anderson's conditions for surrendering was that his men be allowed to observe a 100-gun salute as the American flag was lowered from the fort. During the ceremony, a nearby pile of rifle cartridges exploded, killing 2 soldiers, the first fatalities of the war, and injuring 4 others. Anderson carried the flag, badly damaged during the bombardment, to the north where it was frequently displayed to boost morale. 4 years to the day after Anderson's surrender, he once again raised the flag over Sumter after the Union had recaptured the fort. Just a few hours later, Abraham Lincoln would be fatally shot by John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater. 5. There are very specific colors used to create the flag. It's the Textile Color Card Association of the United States, TCCA, that creates the palette of colors used for both private and public institutions, and the U.S. Army that issues a reference guide of acceptable shades to be used in local, state and national flags. So if you're trying to produce a truly authentic American flag, you'll need to use the exact shades of white, Old Glory Red and Old Glory Blue, specified in the guide. However, mass-market flag manufacturers have been known to fudge a bit and use the more easily processed Pantone matching shades of dark red, 193C, and navy blue, 281C.